What is up, down, and sideways, you beautiful people of this earth? Welcome back to League Unlock. Only 2 remain on the preseason LCS Power Rankings, and these were probably the easiest to do. You could maybe separate them between S plus and S tier or S and A tier, but coming in at number 2 is Team Solo Mid, who are not too unfamiliar with being ranked top 2 or even top 1 in the offseason. And as we know, the past couple of years, they have completely fallen short of those expectations. You want to believe that this roster iteration should be different. It looks rock solid on paper and should be firmly asserted into that second best team in North America. I really like the changes that they made. Dardoch coming over has been a long time coming for a TSM roster. Obviously, Bjergsen is staying. There was that couple week stretch where people were talking about Bjergsen over to 100 Thieves, but I don't think Reggie or himself were ever even considering that, especially now that we know there was talks of minority ownership in the team. If that's not a good way to keep someone on your roster, then I don't know what is. But a few of the issues you could take with the roster is, of course, anytime you're changing 3/5 of your starting lineup, there is a little bit of cause for concern or maybe some slow starts as the team kind of figure things out. But we know that TSM's boot camping in China already and was one of the main reasons Bjergsen did not attend All-Stars this year. What a fantastic event he missed. Just kidding. Not many people watched it. But, so the synergy is already starting early for these guys to hopefully avoid some of those early growing pains. And Broken Blade, glad that he's going to be staying with them. And Dardoch, listen, obviously he is going to be a large upgrade over Grig, Acadian, Spica. Any combination of that trio, Dardoch, you can expect to be performing better than that, even though we did not see him playing in the LCS really for the entirety of 2019. He was left to suffer in the Academy League. That's right, we had Dardoch and Someday both hanging out in the Academy League for the majority of 2019, which is crazy. Maybe he didn't obliterate as much as you were anticipating, but it's rare that we see someone actually just completely blitz the Academy League just because it's still fully dependent on your roster. And we've said it countless times as this offseason has gone on. This is the best roster we've seen with Dardoch. There's no way, if there's any player on the planet that TSM cannot turn into a ward, it's got to be Dardoch. He's always played aggressively. He's also been able to play these tank champions. We've seen him play plenty of Sejuani when he was dominating on Echo Fox, and that is the last time we really saw him playing in a full split with the same roster, and that was the Echo Fox squad that was consistently hovering around that top seed in the regular season with a roster that you definitely weren't expecting to do so with. When you had Alltech and Phoenix on that roster, it was the Huni and Dardoch show 110%. He was getting talks in the MVP conversation. I'm very excited to see him play with Bjergsen. And countless times we've said this as well. The two players respect each other so much. He has consistently looked up to Bjergsen for advice about being a pro player. And the biggest thing for Dardoch, I think, playing in Academy absolutely humbled him. And now that he's been in the pro scene for around 3 years now, there's no doubt in my mind that this guy has matured. He knows this is the best opportunity he is possibly going to get, maybe ever in his career. And it might be the last one for him to really prove that the toxicity issues are far behind him. I think he absolutely delivers and is going to be one of the best junglers in North America for this split. The rest of the TSM roster, Bjergsen, sure, he had a bit of a down summer so by his standards, which of course are set incredibly high, at least in North America. And TSM did have moments in 2019. You remember they went 11-1 in the spring split. They ran through the playoffs, reverse swept Cloud9, got to 1 game away from representing at MSI, and then things kind of fell apart in summer, but they didn't fall apart right away. They started off 7-3 and things were looking great before they finished 3-7 to limp into playoffs, and then the whole clutch debacle happened not once but twice. Zeeks is obviously out as head coach. Peter Zhang coming in. It's not as big a question mark for me as other people might think. if you watched any of the TSM legends behind the scenes, he was very vocal and was a great coach for Acadian specifically, kind of trying to help him with some mental blocks. He was taking too big of a back seat to a lot of these veterans because he was a newer player. I don't think that's going to be an issue with Dardoch. He's always been outspoken, and listen, the very best era of TSM was with Doublelift and Bjergsen, two of the most outspoken and biggest leadership roles that we have in the LCS, and they're still the best of friends. So I think Dardoch and Bjergsen are going to work perfectly together. The biggest question mark on this roster for me, it's not the bottom lane, it's not Dardoch, it's Broken Blade. Can he get back to that spring split form where he was an all-pro level and people were saying, this rookie from Turkey, who is this guy? Solo killing Someday and Huni and Licorice nonstop. He looked absolutely incredible. He took a huge step back in summer. I'm gonna give some of those issues to the fact that the jungler situation was such an issue and a rotating carousel for them that they never really developed any assistance for Broken Blade. He was left alone countless times in that summer split, but there's no questioning this guy's dedication and desire to win. He always looked the most devastated on the roster, maybe tied with Smoothie when it was a tough playoff series loss that they were having. And the champion pool is insane. Azir top, obviously Broken Blade's Jace is there, but the biggest question mark is, can he re-find that spring form that we saw? Because I'm fully confident in the bottom lane, Kabe and Bio. I would be very surprised if they were not almost instantly the second best bot lane behind Doublelift and Core JJ, obviously, but Bjergsen, the bot lane, and even Dardoch, I have less concerns than most people probably have. It's mainly Broken Blade in his sophomore year, his sophomore year in the LCS, obviously. Played in the TCL for a long time, but he's looking for a bounce back. And even if he doesn't get to the same level as Spring, still think you're talking about Team Solo Mid as the second best team in North America throughout the regular season, and there will probably be some hype for them come playoffs. But lucky for them, because the disappointments have been large for the last 2 years, even with this seemingly stacked and good-looking roster on paper, people would not be completely shocked if they poo-pooed the bed, but I do not see that happening with this squad.